you geeks! I began my Wheel of Time quest with New Spring on Audible's recommendation.
You chose poorly.
The cover says New Spring is where the Wheel of Time begins, but it was not a particularly good place to start. This book also inflames my long-latent dislike for pretentious back cover blurbs. Nowhere on Audible's description does it say prequel, read the series first. At the very bottom it says, New Spring is the perfect jumping on point for fantasy listeners, wanting to know more about the Wheel of Time. This sentence is perfectly useless. I focused on jumping on point and missed no more, implying that the reader should know something already. This whole experience has taught me that I know nothing.
You know nothing.
Amazon's full blurb does say prequel right at the top, and now I feel like an idiot. For my review, I will try not to hold these marketing faux pas against the story itself. I read the story twice, which is usually a sign that I liked it. But in this case, the twist caught me so off guard that I felt like I had to go back and see if there had been clues. There were clues to one of the reveals, but not really to the other. Maybe someone more familiar with the series would have known what to look for and truly enjoyed the story. The beginning is interesting and even understandable to an outsider, but the middle...
It's very confusing and it stops the movie dead.
The end has me eager to start the real story, if only to understand what I just read. On to my spoilerific breakdown of characters, world, magic, and plot. Characters. This book has a wide cast of characters from all walks of life. However, all the notable female characters seem very affectionate. Maybe I'm not used to it after reading so much Sanderson, but it's odd that every notable female character is as horny as a billy goat. The women also seem oddly immature. Moraine and Swan are supposed to be 20-somethings. One moment they are clever and competent, and the next they are petty, giggling schoolgirls. I should not complain too much. Jordan is said to break new ground with his characters after the formality of Tolkien. Maybe Jordan is just overdoing it a bit the other way. Moraine. She does grow from student to full Aes Sedai, ready to take on the whole world if need be, though she makes most of her decisions off-page. I would have preferred to see her struggle with her decision to leave the tower, running away from her responsibility, rather than going straight from, I don't want to be queen, to ordering dresses and hopping on a ship. We see buildup and fallout, but need to be told their importance. In the epilogue, we're told that she had decided to take Lan as her warder as soon as she'd met him.
What? What do you say? When did this happen?
That is not the impression I got from Pondwater. On the bright side, Jordan does a very good job setting up how similar Moraine and Lan are, despite all of their outward differences, making them a perfect match. Lan. I suspect that a man trying to navigate his sense of duty with the wishes of his femme fatale lover is the macho fantasy equivalent of a chick flick. It appears in one way or another in almost every fantasy book I've read on this channel. Lan's plotline seems to be a particularly uninspired iteration of this overdone trope. But I am often willing to overlook shortcomings in chick flicks.
Men never get this movie. I know.
So I imagine that many readers will overlook the blandness of Lan's arc because of this plot. The original quirk of his story is that his femme fatale lover wants him to marry her daughter, which he finds unappealing. In hindsight, his lady never really wanted him dead. She wanted him to become king.
You're alive, and that means you're the king.
That tension was interesting, and his dealing with Moraine. Their friendly antagonism made this book, and I wish there was more. A lot more. World building. The White Tower and the Aes Sedai are a very believable society of women, secretive but comprehensible to those in the know. Their power and influence on magical women and the world seems to be more realistic than the Spice Girls in Dune. Yet for a book set in a school where our main characters choose their Aja, I would have liked more information about the charisms of the colors.
Red and yellow and green and brown and blue.
The line that blues were seekers after causes seems to be more of a platitude than a defining mission statement. Magic. I get that the choice to call magic users in this world Aes Sedai must have some profound in-world significance, but we're not told what it is in this book. So I'm left hearing that Neil Diamond song every time the name gets mentioned. With a magic school setting, you'd think we would learn more about magic. We do see enough magic insofar as Sidar can be seen. Lan could watch Marianne cast a weave on him and be none the wiser. The weaving appears to be invisible, done in the weaver's mind, more like telepathy than conventional wizardry.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Someone should tell the artist that. Phrases like throwing, tying off, and cutting strings make enough sense as an extended metaphor for weaving, a fittingly stereotypical feminine art that strengthens the society's gender roles. Though I've seen men who could pick me up one-handed weave a much better basket than I ever could. So I look forward to the actual series where these roles get tangled. Plot. The book starts out promising enough. 2 prophecies for the end of the world, though I was waiting for all of Lan's forces to die. When they didn't, I was kind of disappointed. Then it switches to schoolgirl shenanigans as Moraine and Swan do paperwork and prepare for the test to become Aes Sedai. Not exactly riveting, but not boring. Maybe if the other girl had died first, I would have understood the stakes. Sure, we're told that accepted die in the test, but it comes off the same way that people talk about being run over by a bus. It happens, but never on screen. The antagonists we know of, Elida and Gorthanus, do not seem very threatening. With friends like Elida, who needs enemies?
Frenemies, we like disliking one another.
Maybe she was a red herring for the Black Aja, and maybe Gorthanus hired Kenny Adrian, a guy from the first chapter, to kill Moraine on the road to Chachin. I suppose that counts as furthering the plot, but at that point our heroes had so many people trying to kill them, it was hard to keep them all straight.
Let's just assume for the moment that everyone in here doesn't like them.
The Black Aja did make the story interesting. I wish I'd known about them earlier. A whisper in the tower, perhaps? I have a sinking suspicion that people who read the books in release order know what's up and found it very exciting. As a complete newbie, all that setup was more annoying than intriguing when it seemed to come to nothing.
That's it? That wasn't so bad.
The reveal that Marianne had been Black Aja all along made enough sense. As mistress of the novices, she could stem the tide of women into the tower by just applying a slight amount of pressure in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Of course, before I leave, I'm going to catch your show.
How this long con artist suddenly switched to mustache-twirling villain is beyond me. But sure, the novel was a long, slow burn. People had been dying all along, but off screen. Mere gossip for our heroines to discuss as they tried on dresses. So the sudden and bloody ending was startling. Moraine doesn't even bond Lan as her warder until the epilogue. I suppose I'll have to get used to that bothersome pacing style again. This book doesn't put me off the series as a whole. Half of my problems are of my own making by reading it first. The other half can be overlooked by those brief moments on the road to Chachin that were pure gold. I want more. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.